Set World Pivot. From our last video, we can see that the relative position between the LED wall and the camera is correct from the distortion viewer. However, currently half the LED wall is below the floor level, which is not what we want. Let's change this and have the LED wall sit on the floor. It has position information over here, so let's move that up by 2 meters since the LED wall is 4 meters tall. The pivot point is now here where we need it, but the camera is now in the wrong position relative to the LED wall. If you look at the distortion viewer, you can see that this is completely unmatched in here. If you go into the camera and in the upper right corner under Tools, there is a small play button. Press that to rerun the calibration process. You then click Override, which will then overwrite the lens profile and alignment profile generated by the tool. Now the camera is back again in the correct position relative to the screen. It is great that now the LED wall is sitting properly on the floor and the camera tracking system is now raised up accordingly. But in most cases, we would like the origin point to be in the middle of the entire screen, rather than being in the far left corner. We could do this by moving the screen manually, like this. But this is a very tricky way to do this, not to mention very inaccurate. There is a better way to do this. So let's reset that for now and bring everything back to 0. If you look under the calibration screen, under Surfaces, there is a list of all the subsurfaces. In our setup, we have a total of 24 columns. And we now want the world origin to be sitting at the bottom corner between column 12 and 13. In SP, the first column starts at 0, so we want to choose surface 11, which is the 12th column, to define our world origin. You can rename that reference to make it easy to find. You can reset the location and rotation of this single subsurface and put it at 2 meters high, so that's the lower border of the screen, which will be our pivot point. I know the screen needs to be rotated. The wall has a 5-degree angle, so this needs to be 2.5. Now if we hide the first one so we can see what we've done, the world origin point is now sitting at the bottom right corner of the 12th column of our LED wall, which is where we want it to be. Now the last step is to inform the calibration tool that we would like to use this center column as our reference column instead of the first column from the left side, which is the default setting. Go back to the lens and calibration tool and open that. Then we go to our screens and select the calibration multi-screen, and we will see the inspector on a list. Click on that list and we see all the subsurfaces. We can now choose our reference screen as the master screen. Once done, we can click play again and the calibration is run again. But this time around, we have oriented everything around the center reference column of the LED wall, which we have manually positioned where we wanted it. Now we have a perfectly aligned wall with a pivot point exactly where we want it, and the tracking system is all aligned as well.